Hey everyone, Fatty from Pack a Punch Traders here. Gonna go over my Friday trade as well as the top plays for tomorrow. Um, let's just get right into this. We got LHDX. This was my trade on Friday. It was a quick one and done kind of day. Stopped watching the market pretty early. So what I saw here was multi-day bounce opportunity right out of the watch list. Held up. We got very light selling pressure in the morning with a bit more buying compared to it, as well as the past few days. It had, compared to that red day, it was a bit more buying in my eyes. So continue to hold around 45, or if we go back, we have some support back here in the low 40s, mid 40s here. So I thought if it can hold up in that zone, give us some more buying, it can trigger the bounce. And it did for a moment, but red to green just stuffed the play. And I tried to be a little patient with this. Let's rewind a little bit here. So I ended up getting this at 49.4 with 4,000 shares as I saw this thing hold. And this burst here was pretty quick. And then it continued higher. It was a bit choppy. As you can see, these wicks, some long candles to them. In range. So I gave it a chance to test the red to green because I knew if it made that area support level and it failed to break down, that can lead to further squeezing to push us into the 60s. So gave it a chance, but did not pull through. Ended up double topping. And when I saw that, I decided, you know what, let's not be greedy. It's around red green. It's double topping, and I'm up decently. So let's just lock in this quick profit. And by the time I sold, I thought I was going to be getting out around 57.3. It ended up getting me out at 56.8. This was a pretty aggressive drop here. If you saw it live, it went from 56 to 55. Not too bad, but from there, it went quickly to 53, 54. So this thing died off pretty quickly, and as you can see, had another little bounce, but not much to it. Still getting stuffed at red green. So overall, I see sellers having control in this play. So I will still watch this for a possible multi-day bounce. It's one of the top plays for tomorrow. But of course, if this thing starts dropping and it just completely dies off, no buying pressure, has a hard time breaking to new highs, momentum's not there, just ignore it. But here we are, backed up to the wall where it's got some support around 38.40. So we'll go into tomorrow with the same mindset as I did on Friday with this thing. Can it hold this zone? Is selling pressure non-existent pretty much, and we're seeing a lot more buying come through, and that can trigger the bounce. And ideally, it sets up to where it's not having red to green right above where it can stuff it. So yeah, that's the play. Not too bad um, of an opportunity, but ended up getting stuffed. Was a little disappointed with that, considering the range it has, all the way down up from where did it even start? 1 second, I forgot. We go from, we'll call it 12 all the way to 1.4, and now we're way off the highs. I am expecting a stronger bounce, but the market doesn't care what you expect. Could just fall, might have an offering, who knows. So I'm starting to ramble. Let's just move on. There was OBSV. This was a monster play after hours. Was very disappointed to see this thing take off without me. The way it set up after hours just blew right through 15 cents after it tested it. Made a higher low. As you can see, not much selling pressure. Then we get the strong demand coming back, and that just leads to a monster push all the way to 29 cents. And from there, I pretty much ignored it. There was an opportunity here with the open price VWAP per claim. You got selling pressure and volume in general just fading as it pushes lower. It holds. We get some buying to come back. Confirms this area. Um, as you can see, once again, selling pressure not that significant, and then buying ends up coming through, which leads it to the nice push for a double top. But with a play like this, I prefer to just let it run and wait for the multi-day bounce after the backside comes in. When the stock just starts pushing 100, 150, 200%, yeah, there is no telling how high a play can go. But if you've been watching the market for a while now, there are going to be outliers that take off for 500, 700%. You'll see those, but usually I see them top out 200, 300 if it's really excessive. So when a stock is just parabolic like this, I just end up ignoring it and wait for a familiar part of the chart. So we'll wait on this for the multi-day bounce, but just wanted to go over how, I guess, key the open price of VWAP or claim can be. I usually look at it early in the morning, but in this case, held up and gave it midday, late day. So just something to take away from this. Yeah, so let's just get into the top plays for tomorrow. We got OCEA holding up again. This one offered a little bit of an opportunity with the bounce last week, but nothing too strong considering the range that it has. I thought it can move a bit more and took a quick snipe, but here we are fading and fading. But we got a triple bottom here around 6, failing to push lower. Volume is fading, so if we can just get back some more demand, if we start seeing this uptrend fail to break down, starts pushing to new highs, with ideally a bit more buying behind it, that could lead to shorts locking in profits and dip buyers coming back for this play. It is a low float play, 9.6 million. Yeah, not too bad. So looking for another play, ideally a stronger reversal than this, something longer lasting. So we'll see what we get out of that. CDIO. We got another multi-day bounce. This has been taken off recently and still holding up pretty well, but it has put in a red day. I would like to see this thing fade a bit more, give us more of an angle to work with as well. I would like to see more selling come through with this thing. As I mentioned, we're looking for shorts to lock in profits to fuel the play. If there really aren't that many sellers coming through, I don't know where that fuel is going to be coming from. So we'll see how it sets up. Of course, still a great possible play. Just looking for a failure to break down, start pushing new highs, holding VWAP, uptrending, more buying come through as we've had a bit of a quiet period in the buying compared to the first 2 days. So yeah, just your typical multi-day bounce. Next up, BFRG. Here we got a what? Previous high at daybreak. Okay, recent IPO in February, it looks like. Solid demand on Friday. Decent bottom here in the mid twos. Shares outstanding are low, so I know the float isn't going to be higher than that, so it's going to be a low float. Yeah, holding up not too bad off the highs. Not that far off. Could see this thing come back, reclaim 4, make that support area, and then from there, at least test the next resistance in the mid 4s. But ultimately, looking for this thing to get back to the low 5s in this range where there's some resistance. If the demand picks up, if it's there again like it was on Friday, could see that move, but still just a waiting game, looking for it to get back to 4. But I really like that demand that came through here after a long-winded downtrend. trying to bottom out. Could see a bit more of a squeeze if it fails to break down. So yeah, this could be something nice if it reclaims 4. Then we got LHDX, which I talked about already, getting back to that 38 cent, 40 cent region where there's some support. Sellers are still in control, so still looking for that multi-day bounce. Lastly, ONCS. What do we got here? Multi-day bounce going from 1 to 3. Now down roughly 35%. Decent selling coming through on this play. Low float. Yeah, another multi-day bounce. A lot of those had, even though this past week and a half or so has been quieter, um, in the sense there aren't as many opportunities, but there still has been some runners. So glad to see that happen. Still able to focus on my favorite pattern, the multi-day bounce. And of course, with anything new that's gapping up, just focus on the focus on the open price and VWAP reclaim. Look for failure to break down after a decent spike. Any ability or whatever you see. Look for the possibility of shorts getting trapped and the play failing to break down. And when it starts reclaiming key levels and you see strong demand start perking back, um, that gives high odds for a possible push higher as shorts get squeezed and buyers recognize that momentum and start joining in as well.